out of it. But yeah, forget all the banter, but there is serious trouble that we'll talk about when we get into the news. So just give them the WhatsApp numbers to call.
Yes, please.
And even the phone numbers.
To send your message 0809 0981.
And perhaps when we talk about Messi, the phone line will be open.
Yes, the phone line will be open. Yes. So we'll take your own takes. Don't mind whatever I say. Just give me your own takes.
That number is 0144899981.
Okay.
Until then, let's talk about our sports ministry, shall we?
All right. So here for the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has announced that it will take up and pay the medical bills of 4 track and field athletes, 2 of whom competed for Nigeria at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics with injuries, while the other 2 were injured during the games. The 4 athletes are Enoch Adegoke, who stopped 40 meters into the 100 meters final due to a hamstring trouble, and Ushorise Ishekiri, who also pulled his hamstring in the semi-final of the 200 meters. Sprint hurdle, Toby Amuson, who placed 4th in the 100-meter hurdles, came with an injury, as well as Chukwuebuka Enekwechi, who made history as the first Nigerian man or woman to compete in the final of the event at the Olympics.
Yeah,
who would have paid for it?
You see, Valentine, I would have bought you something, but like I said, I've been messed, so okay. I can't afford it. No but remember, when I have some good money, I buy you something for that question. Who else was supposed to pay? Was it me? You see, yes, some years ago, I was asking a footballer, a basketballer, I'm not going to mention his name. Okay. He features in the NBA, and I was asking him why he didn't come to play for Nigeria. And he said because they didn't want to sign that they'll pay his insurance. Because somebody had gotten injured for Nigeria, and because they weren't paying their insurance, that meant his club was going to pay the insurance, and the club were not happy with that. They eventually let the player go. But, at the end of it, the guy featured for you. You will pay.
Yes.
I don't understand what you mean. What was he supposed to do? He was supposed to treat himself?
Or limp back.
Obviously, that's what's been happening.
Or travel to the Niger Delta and get some Ijoman to shake the bone for you. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? But yeah, I don't know why this is PR, but we keep doing all these things. Look, the Olympics, despite the gold and silver, was an epic fail. And it continues to be a resounding failure when all these stories keep coming out. The announcement. So at the airport, when the athletes came back, there was the band. It was 2 athletes that came back, the 2 medalists. I want to say some things now, but I don't want to say it in public. So, if you're on YouTube, you will hear it in the break. I will say it during the break. But I can't say it like that. You understand? Yes. But the really why I think they brought the medalists. And there was dancing and everything. Everybody was so happy. And I was just looking at them like, these people have seen their pension plan. But influencer money. But basically, that's what it seemed like from where I was coming from. So there was a lot of dancing, there was welcoming, and I celebrate those athletes. I celebrate you, Esebrume. I celebrate you, Blessing Oborodudu. I celebrate you, Tobu Amuso. All of you that competed for Nigeria, I celebrate you. Don't think that I don't celebrate you. I'm just saying that sometimes you need to recognize when they are celebrating you and when they are using you.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. Yeah. I know who is doing
which. There's really a thin line between those.
I cannot wait for the break. That is the real locker room. Chimobi Victor from Alaba International said, "Good morning, guys. This our sports minister is just a joker. Please, is it Valentine that will pay for the treatment of these injured players that represented us at the Olympics?
Like.
Maybe the sport minister wants we, the listeners of Locker Room 981, to contribute for the treatment."
But guess what? Should I shock you? We are actually paying for it. Taxpayers' money.
Actually.
The United States track and field team can no longer rely on sheer strength in depth after a dramatic underperformance at the Tokyo Olympics, says athletics great Michael Johnson. The United States won 7 athletics gold, more than any other nation, but almost half the 13 they picked up 5 years ago in Rio. According to Johnson, the 4-time Olympic champion, who was quoted as saying, "If you look at the way we approach national teams, and you put that in any other country that didn't have the sort of depth that we have, this would have been a failure a long time ago." He said the system is set up in a way where the team selects itself. You have the trials and the first 3 across the line in every event. Those are your 3. This is explanation there.
Okay, so I'm going to say this. First of all, Just so you know, the Olympics ended yesterday, and US finished at the top of the medal table. They had the highest number of gold. They had 39 gold. They had the highest number of medals. They had 113 medals. The country that came second was China with 38 gold, but they had 81 medals. So the reason why China was even neck and neck with the US was the number of gold medals that they were winning. But even despite the fact that they topped the table, despite the fact that they finished with 39 gold, despite the fact that they finished with 113 medals, they underperformed. And so if you're looking at that table and say, yes, US did as usual, you'll be a regular person. But people like Michael Johnson and Tega Anojaife actually recognize that they underperformed because the US track, especially the US track, you look at the athletes that are coming through there. I mean, track and field, you check I'm not just talking of Americans, I'm talking of other countries. Some Swedes were there, some Canadians, they train in the US. You hear, you see some athletes that are very close at the Olympics, and then you find out that, oh, they're in the same university at the US. so, so, so they're training athletes and then they're losing to these athletes at the Olympics and the World Championships, and everybody's like, what's going on here? Because think about it, the way the men underperformed bar the 4x400 meters gold medal that they won convincingly. They underperformed 200 meters, 100 meters, 110 meters hurdles, 400 meters hurdles. Think about it, they underperformed. And so even while the Olympics were going on, the US Track Association was already looking to how they can change things up. So like he said, like Michael Johnson said, this is what happens. The Olympic trials are arranged for a particular period just before the Olympics. And even if you've won 12 gold medals before, nobody has done it, but if you've won 12 gold medals before, you come on that day and you finish fourth, you don't qualify. Simple. And whilst that was good when the system was churning out talent after talent, it seems a little last minute now. Yes. So what he's trying to suggest, and what I also agree with, and what the US Track Athletics Association is looking at, is that they'd have an Olympics trial way earlier and select a few top guns and then have another trial to whittle down that. So the same way they pick the basketball team or they pick the football team, just have a number of people that say these are Olympic bound. But when it's time to whittle down the team, then you can select that, so that you're not picking somebody based on the form of 2 months. And then when he comes in, he doesn't have the experience and the consistency to perform at a high level. So that's basically what they're trying to look at. They have not said they're going to change it, but that's what they're trying to look at. Because yes, it has worked for them so far, but if you look at the men's Olympics, the guy that won a medal for them in 800 meters at the World Championships in 2019, he finished fourth. He couldn't come to the Olympics. So same thing with 200 meters. There are some athletes for men and women. The women were able to cover up again because there's still some strength in depth there, but there's a struggle. So maybe they're looking at how they pick the team. So yes, I like this team. Finish at the top of the table and still go back to the drawing board.
Exactly.
Because we can't drop from 13 medals in Rio to 7 and think because we finish at the top of the table, we are all right. I like that thinking.
Honestly, I love it. That's the thing.
By the way, Nigeria finished
74th.
Is it?
Out of, yeah.
How many political parties
Please,
do you
let's
have?
be grateful.
We had 1 gold and 1 silver. That's all I will
number.
say.
Oh, we even got gold.
No, sorry, 1 silver and 1 bronze. Tika, where did you see gold? Sorry, we had 1 silver and 1
you
bronze.
see gold,
I'm
what
imagining
is stepping
gold
to
in
the
my
studio?
mind.
No. He lives in the studio. Yeah. Gold in the
All right.
studio.
Okay. So I don't like. Okay. Let me just quickly touch on this one because we need to go on the break. But we'll touch on this. Paris Saint-Germain moved a possibility after Barcelona exit. An emotional Lionel Messi said joining Paris Saint-Germain was a possibility, but nothing is agreed as he confirmed his exit from Barcelona. He said, and I quote, "My family and I were convinced we're going to stay here at home," he said during a news conference on Sunday. "This is the end with this club, and now a new story will begin. Yes, it's one of the most difficult moments for me. I don't want to leave this club. It's a club I love, and this is a moment I didn't expect. Last year, I wanted to leave. This year, I wanted to stay. That's why I'm so sad." Oh.
Yeah. So it was very emotional. I've heard some people Shehu downstairs saying it seemed sarcastic because you're leaving for more money. I've heard some people say it's PR. But I would say this,
don't think Messi
Imagine,
needs their money.
imagine you've been somewhere. He's been there since he was 13.
Mhm.
He's 34 now. You will cry.
Yes.
When I was leaving the university, I didn't have to make a speech, but I cried.
Mhm.
I was happy to leave the university. In fact, I couldn't wait to leave the university.
Mhm.
But I just knew that I shed tears for a few reasons. The first reason was my life of comfort was over because then people were giving me pocket money. Now I didn't have that. I have to go and hustle myself. You know, you get into the rat race and run. The second thing was there were people I really wanted to be keep close to me, but I couldn't. I knew it wasn't going to happen because by 400 levels, everybody has already started to scatter. And I felt that loss. There was also the communal living. So you know when you wake up in your hostel, you know who your neighbors are. You go to
Exactly,
your department, you know who your
Yes.
friends are. I knew that was off. I was now on my own, by myself, for myself,
To
and
go out
of
into the
myself
world, yeah.
in the world. So I shed a little tear. Just imagine if everybody had to make a speech to their friends
Yeah.
when they were leaving the university. That's how you would cry. So don't think it's sarcastic. Don't think because there's money involved. It doesn't change the human emotion. That's on one hand. But on the second hand, the reason why I said I believe he was messy, which is what I'm going to get into. So it turns out, the truth of the matter is, the one thing that cannot be argued is that Barcelona is in financial straits. It's in a serious financial situation. And so because of the fair play rules and their situation, they really couldn't keep Lionel Messi without selling. So now, so at first we were all blaming La Liga that maybe they should have made some leeway because that's another big name player leaving La Liga to affect their TV rights and all of that. But the president of La Liga, Javier Tebas, comes out to say that he actually had a meeting with Laporta, and which is why I say Messi. He had a meeting with Laporta. So this is two rich men talking now, and the meeting simply said if Laporta agreed to support the new CVC deal, which is CVC was going to buy 30% of La Liga, that would mean that more money was coming into Barcelona, and based on that, they could now say, okay, you can employ Lionel Messi. However, Laporta and Fiorentino Perez and Agnelli of Juventus still have that European Super League idea in their mind. And signing the CVC deal would mean a one-off payment or a one-off payment made over 3 installments. But the ESL deal, the European Super League deal, will bring them money every year that they are competing in that. So he decided that he was not going to be Esau and sell his birthright for porridge. And so he decided that he's not going to agree with the CVC deal. So because he did not agree with that CVC deal, which means that they didn't have an immediate increase in revenue, it meant that they couldn't keep Lionel Messi. And so which is why I say I've been messy, is that two rich men have sat down and I've discussed my financial situation and decided I'm not worth the drama.
Apparently.
That's what has happened.
On that note, to take a break, pondering that. And remember, for those watching on YouTube, there's an interesting gist that's waiting on the sidelines. Let's dig in.
Breakfast with Valentine and I right here on Smooth 98.1.
So
Gist!
this is what usually happens. I'm not saying that this is what is going to happen. No.
Yeah.
So the reason they brought those two girls, because normally those two girls would have gone to where they're going to take those two girls everywhere and collect money. Yes, yes. They'll be like, these are our two medalists. They will go to federal government. Yeah, they will go to different state governors. Yes, they will go to different states. Like Kwara State governor that like to give money now. He's the kind of person that will be on their radar. They'll go to a few companies. They'll use those girls to market. Note that all the money is not going to those girls. Those girls may be settled, but the ministry will get a lot of money. So that's why they particularly targeted bringing them. So they promised them heaven and earth that we're going to do this, we're going to do that for you, we'll pay your bills back, you don't have to rush. So they're going to use those girls for marketing.
Oh, yeah.
No more.
And then they brought them.
That's why they brought them. That's why they didn't send the others. The others got on a plane and got out. Bye-bye. It was nice. I spoke to one of the disqualified athletes. She was like, on the very next flight out of Tokyo.
Visit www.muka.com/.
Immediately after the protest, all of them were on the next flight out of Tokyo.
Endorsed by medical experts.
So
Muka gives your body the support it needs.
And you're right,
to
though.
feeling good.
We're back.
Take on the day.
Okay, continue.
Muka, adding comfort to life.
Start your day the smooth breakfast way.
Locker Room 981 here on Smooth 98.1, part of Smooth Breakfast Show. I'm Ayo Myro Essay.
And I'm Valentine Ohood. Good
With
morning.
the one and only Tega Onojaife, aka Tega Supreme.
Morning.
All right, on today's show, we've looked at the Olympics. That's a big one. And then, of course, Messi's transfer, hopefully to PSG, or moving. Okay, not transfer, but being.
Yeah, it's a transfer, but it's a possibility because, like we said, Barcelona, after him crying and he was emotional, one of the board members of Barcelona resigned. He said, that he felt Laporta could have done more, which I think is what the CVC deal is. That Laporta could have done more to keep Messi in either the CVC deal or trying to sell some of the people that they consider not as important in Barcelona. So he's resigned, but there are some other board members that said, you know what, this is not right. We shouldn't be losing our players to PSG. So they have written a letter saying to the European football, saying that, look, people can't allow PSG to buy this player for the same reason you can't allow us to retain him. Because PSG had new signings: Sergio Ramos, Donnarumma, Hakimi. Who else they sign again? They have four. What's his name from Liverpool now that wanted to go. Wijnaldum from Liverpool that wanted to go to Barcelona but now moved to Liverpool. So those players are coming with heavy wages, and they're saying if their wages are your wages are supposed to be about 70% of your revenue, and they're saying with all those wages that PSG will probably be operating at 98% or 115%. So they shouldn't be allowed to buy for the same reason that we are not allowed to buy. So they've sent a letter of protest. Whether that letter will work or whether it will function, I don't know. But what it is that Eiffel Tower has been booked from what we are hearing. It has been booked.
Just in case.
And if whatever happens, there shall be an announcement to stay or to leave, but it's still a possibility. Nothing has been confirmed yet.
I saw a headline that said Messi has agreed to move to PSG in principle.
But he also agreed to stay at Barcelona in principle too. He did. He took 50% cut, 5 years. There were all the details, and then they said we can't register it because of your wage. So I don't like all this in principle. I want to see signed papers.
All right, so Chris Ayo on YouTube says Tebas is a hypocrite. Why didn't he let him go last year? They would have gotten a 100 million transfer fee and gotten his wages off the books. What did not make sense last year now suddenly makes sense this year?
Thank you.
All right. Still on Messi. The phone line is 0144899981. Barcelona started life without Lionel Messi on Sunday with a three-season Gampa trophy. Messi had early on Sunday said his farewells to the club. He had served for 20 years at a tearful news conference. Now, Memphis Depay opened the scoring for Barcelona after just 3 minutes with Martin Braithwaite adding a second goal just before the hour mark from a corner. Ricky Puig scored a third in stoppage time with a fine left foot drive. And Spain's La Liga season gets underway on Friday, while the Italian Serie A starts on the 22nd of August.
Yes, so again, I thought that was an ESL private meeting, because there had been reports that there was actually a meeting between Agnelli of Juventus, Laporta of Barcelona, and Florentino Perez of Real Madrid in Barcelona. So Barcelona playing against Juventus looked like they were trying to market to us what the European Super League will look like. Imagine having to watch constantly a Barcelona play against Juventus. That's what it looked like to me from here. Because again, my mind has been warped by all the money in football. But basically, it was a good performance by Barcelona. Can they churn it out weekend in, weekend out? I cannot guarantee. But they looked a balanced side. Everybody seemed like, okay, so Messi has gone. I want to be the next top dog here. So everybody was playing to the best of his ability. And I mean, it was a friendly, so we allowed the opportunity to see a lot of players. Even Ricky Puig was given an opportunity by Ronald Koeman to play. Normally, he doesn't like to play the guy. so we got to see them. They dominated from the first half. They could have scored more goals. Same thing in the second period. Juventus also changed their team. They started with Cristiano Ronaldo, substituted him, brought some changes. Chiesa came on, looked like he was going to be the one to drag Juventus back into the match. That didn't happen. Instead, Barcelona went on to score a second goal and then a third. So it looked a well balanced team for the season, because if you look at them in every department, they are not a bad team. The only reason why this is such a big deal is because it's Lionel Messi. You know, you can't have 6 Ballon d'Ors and leave a team and the world not talk about you. So it looks a balanced side that can at least compete with Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Not really a horrible side. Again, with the signing of Memphis Depay, Aguero was out injured, but if he's back, you know that he can give you a few goals, maybe 20 goals this season. So if they play their cards right, Pedri is still coming back from the Olympics where he won silver with Spain. So they still have some good crop of players. They can play they can compete with the team that they have. So good outing yesterday. Not very. I won't say you'd use that outing to say Juventus is ready for the season or not, especially considering that the Inter Milan that won the league last season has been dismantled for financial reasons this season. So they still have the upper hand there in the Italian Serie A. So good one all around for Barcelona.
Good one all around. Time for Maja says, thank God the Olympics is now over. No more embarrassment for the federal government. No more athletes protesting and complaining. We managed to get just 2 medals despite all the odds. Puma, it's over to you. Then he said, Barcelona fans need to support their current crop of players. Messi has gone. At some point, it was inevitable. The team needs to focus and remain competitive. No more special status again.
Right. Now, Josh from Ikeja says, I think the ESL should still be crushed and permanently so.
And make it for my more.
Rebecca says, with Messi's transfer confirmed, it's Griezmann and Aguero that will suffer the fans' wrath if things don't go well. With the Barca fans, and I know the booings will be bloody.
I mean, think about it. If they were abusing Messi for not playing for free.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, let's move away from the Spanish La Liga, the most expensive player in the Spanish La Liga, to the most expensive player in the English Premier League. Grealish debuts for Man City, but Leicester win Shield.
Yes.
Jack Grealish's Manchester City debut was spoiled by Kelechi Iheanacho as the Leicester striker's late penalty clinched a 1-0 win in the Community Shield on Saturday.
Senior man, Kels.
Kels,
The soap is still working. Oh no, he said he has changed to shower gel now. It's not using soap again. So the shower gel is now working. But again, good display by Leicester City. And it seems right now they have mastered the art of managing their game and managing the team, especially when they come against these big names. They may struggle against teams like Everton, teams in their at the same level with their players, but against the big teams, they've learned how to manage the game, manage the pace, and then at the end of the day, grind out the result that they need. So they were able to defeat Chelsea in the FA Cup final, and then they get here and defeat Manchester City in the Community Shield. Now, Arsenal won the last Community Shield, and we saw how their season went. So winning the Community Shield doesn't guarantee that you're going to have an excellent season. However, Leicester City is a little balanced, and they've kept basically most of the crop of the team that they had last season. So I don't expect them to underperform this season. They showed a good display. For Manchester City, on the other hand, though, they look a bit all over the place. So many individual talents, not a team. And that's where
That's the problem.
exactly, and that's where Pep Guardiola is going to have to work on. When it comes to the league, he may have the time. It's 38 games, so he may have the time from August to May to sort out how he would work out that team. But in cup competitions, which is where he needs to hit the ground running, that's where the struggle will be. With no clear-cut striker on his team, a bunch of forwards that everybody was trying to do his own thing. It looked a scattered beginning, but that is not the measure of the Manchester City team that we will see over the season. I think that they will get better with the season. I think that they will straighten themselves out, but they didn't look impressive on Saturday.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good outing. It wasn't a good team. And Pep Guardiola may say, oh yes, this is just a Community Shield, but that's another competition, cup competition, another one match victory that you could have had, that you've now lost to Leicester City after losing the Champions League final
That's
to
too
Chelsea.
painful.
So yeah, that's not a good record when
Yeah,
you're
that's a low
when you're spending all that bill. In fact, they've reached over just over £1 billion spending in transfer. Yeah, you spend that kind of money, you better be winning the World Cup.
I have only one question though before I wrap up. What, among all the clubs you've been hopping from, have you touched on this club?
Chelsea.
No.
Man City.
Yeah.
No, because Man U, they're too close to Man. They are big
Oh,
rivals.
okay, so
yeah.
man.
So you have principles in this your hopping.
does, though.
Now wow.
I'm surprised.
I'm surprised
No,
though.
but I would have broken it if this guy had come to Man City.
If Messi had moved to Man City, you
definitely.
Yeah.
I'll just apologize to the Manchester folks.
I think you should just hold on. Don't conclude yet.
I shouldn't conclude yet,
Yeah.
right?
Never
Aside
know.
from I just said, Senior Man Kells is showing Man City that it's not about money. Come on, take down these notes while Senior Man Kells wipes banger after using gel.
Wow. Charles Chills says he had a choice soap is still working. Hashtag locker room. Hashtag locker room 981 continues on social media. So please interact with Tega. Tega is at Tega Onojaife, Tega Supreme
Yeah.
on the platform that should not be mentioned. And on other platforms at LIS International, full of her
Yep.
work with the ladies, wonderful work with the ladies in sports is unparalleled.
Yes, indeed. Final comment from YouTube. Okay, Chukumba says, I can't imagine how happy I am seeing Barca scatter like bread thrown in water.
Yeah.
This best time to taunt Tega for sure. Let Arsenal catch Barcelona this time. We go no. Let scatter continue.
Oh, I don't have any club.
There's plenty
Me,
fish in the sea.
I'm even worse than Ayo.
That was the both of you
You know,
combined.
right now I can be supporting Jose Mourinho. He has moved to Roma.
Sorry, I can't follow him.
No, it's just Mourinho. If he leaves in the next 3 months, which I think he will leave because he has already started fighting, I'll move again with him. I'll be jobless with him. So don't waste your time. You can't taunt me.
You're gonna stay here on Smooth 98.1 Smooth Breakfast with I am Myra
And
Essay.
Valentine.
We have music from Desiree, from Ola Nabulele, from Jamirokai coming up next here on Smooth Breakfast.